Hello, third graders. Let's continue looking at quotations. The directions on this page state if the sentence is correct, we're going to write a C. If it's not correct, we need to make the corrections that are needed. Okay? So, let's look at number 1. Mr. Sanchez said, "You can make beautiful glass by blowing." So you should be looking at this sentence thinking to yourself right now, is this correct or is it not correct? And then if it's not correct, what changes should I make, right? And in this instance, this sentence is not correct because we have the words that Mr. Sanchez said. You can make beautiful glass by blowing, right there, okay? We have a comma that separates the quotation from the rest of the sentence. That's good. And then we have the quotation marks that begin the quotation. That's good. And we go over here and we are missing the second set of quotation marks. Notice they do go after that period at the end. All right. Let's look at number 2. And if you need to pause the video to give yourself a little time to think about it, please do so and then just resume when you're ready. Number 2. "It is an interesting art," exclaimed Julio. Okay, well, we have Julio's words. It is an interesting art, so we'll look at that. Starts off with the quotation marks. That's good. After his statement, we have a comma because it's just a regular statement. And then after the comma, we have quotation marks. And we have exclaimed Julio. Now, if I'm seeing this right here, exclaimed Julio, to me that shows excitement. So to me that says this comma right here, I would actually put an exclamation point instead. That's what I would do. So if you want to put the exclamation point there, I would say that's the best choice. Otherwise, you could have said it was technically correct, although an exclamation usually needs an exclamation point. Number 3. "You use a blowpipe to make a glass ball," Mr. Sanchez added. So we have this sentence right here, or statement. That's what we're looking at for the quotation marks. And if we look at the beginning, it doesn't have the beginning quotation marks, so we need to fix that. At the end of the quotation, now it just said he added, so we won't have exclamation point. So the comma is correct, and then we have the quotation marks at the end, but we needed to add the quotation marks at the beginning. Okay. Number 4. "It looks really hard," Carla said. All right. So what did Carla say exactly? She said it looks really hard. So we look here and we definitely need quotation marks to start it. And she has an exclamation point, which I'm fine with. If somebody said it looked really hard, it's usually said with some emotion, right? So I'm fine with the exclamation point. But we need to have the second set of quotation marks there around her quotation. Carla said, and we have a period at the end. So I would make that correction definitely. If you wanted to change the exclamation point to match up more with something like this, you could put it as a comma, but I'm fine with the exclamation point. And finally, number 5. "Glass blowing takes a lot of practice," Mr. Sanchez said. So what did he say exactly? His quotation was glass blowing takes a lot of practice. So let's take a look at that. We'll go to the beginning, and we need to have quotation marks at the beginning. And Mr. Sanchez said, so fine with the comma, and then we have our second set of quotation marks there, but we were missing what was at the beginning. Okay, so actually I wouldn't say any of them were absolutely correct. Number 2 potentially could have been, but the rest absolutely needed some corrections. And then we have 6, 7, 8, and 9. It says to write each sentence, add a comma and quotation marks where they are needed. Now, I'm not going to rewrite these as we talked about before. It takes me forever to write a sentence using this software. So I am going to go through and add commas and add quotation marks. And I suggest you mentally do the same, or you can actually physically write it down on a piece of paper. And if you're doing that, please pause the video in between so you can make your corrections first and then check your corrections with what I say for 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay? Number 6. People have been blowing glass for thousands of years, Ms. Rice said. So her quotation, people have been blowing glass for thousands of years. So we need to have quotation marks before people. And we need a comma right here after years, and then quotation marks right after that. That gives us the correct punctuation. Let's look at number 7. She added, the blowpipe was invented long ago. Okay, well, this means she is saying the blowpipe was invented long ago, so I need a comma to separate the quotation from the rest of the sentence. And then we need the quotation marks. And then at the very end, we need our second set of quotation marks. Notice that second set goes after the period. The first set, we have the comma. Then after that, we have the quotation marks. And then after the quotation marks, we have the first letter of the quotation. So they do kind of go in order. We don't want to stack them on top of each other. Okay. Number 8. Colonists, that's a tough word to say. Colonists built a glass factory in Jamestown in 1608, Anita said. Okay, so we need to come up here with quotation marks before the first word. I said it twice. I'm not going to tempt my luck a third time. And then a comma after the year. Quotation marks after the comma, but before Anita. And then we're good. And let's go to our last one, number 9. Glassmakers used big furnaces in the 1700s, added Ms. Rice. So her quotation is glassmakers used big furnaces in the 1700s. We need quotation marks before, and then we need a comma after 1700s and quotation marks right after that, but before the word added. And then we're in good shape. Okay? So quotation marks go around the exact words the person said. A comma divides or separates the quotation from the rest of that sentence. That's it, all I have for you today, boys and girls. Tomorrow, we'll have our post test. As always, this is Mr. P, and I'm out.